Hello, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us for this podcast. It is Conversations with Corrections. I'm Glen Mills, the Director of Communications and Government Relations, alongside Executive Director Jared Garcia. Really, this is an opportunity for us to talk about our leadership team and what we want to accomplish within the next 6 months. But Jared, we just came off of a statewide listening tour. As you went around to the different regions and the different facilities, what are some of the things that really stood out to you about the state of corrections?
Yeah, I think first of all, the first thing that stood out to me is the professionalism. It was really great to see our people in their new uniforms, all in compliance with the new policy. I saw mostly people that were very happy about the things that are going on. But there were also a few things that have been recent changes that have created challenges for people that we need to be aware of. And we are mindful of it. The first one is the policy change from the 84 to 80 hours of overtime. I know not everybody was able to make it to the listening session, so that's why we really want to talk about it here.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's a budget issue, and we've been living off vacancy savings for so long, and it was necessary because we needed to fill posts. But now that we're becoming closer to fully staffed, we really just have ran out of money, and we had to make a decision on how to use the money that we did have, and it boiled down to either spending it on ongoing overtime, which was never really budgeted for, or contributing that money to our compensation plan for our certified staff. And at the end of the day, we decided to move the pay plan forward so people could enjoy that daily earning every single day towards their pension, while we continue to evaluate overtime in our budget and how we can implement better long-term strategies for overtime. The other issue that came up frequently was the change in our sick leave policy. And really, the message to staff is we don't want to be a punitive organization, but we are a professional organization. So we want people to use their sick leave and their vacation responsibly. On the flip side of that, we want our supervisors and our leaders to help people to find time to get days off when they need to. Mm-hmm. But really, the overarching message related to that is if you're sick or your spouse is sick or your kids are sick, your significant other, and you need to stay home, then absolutely, please stay home. We don't want you to come to work sick. However, if you're just trying to get an extra day off or bookend your days off, or you know you're not sick and you're abusing it, then those are the instances we're going to look at, and we will take the appropriate action. But again, just have good communication with your leaders. If you're sick or you need a day off, we're hoping that we're being accommodating and helping you through those things, and that's really why we made the change to the policy.
And when that change was made and you really put an emphasis on getting out ahead of it and talking about it, we saw a drastic change in call-outs. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll talk about USCF specifically. There were days where we had 30, 35. I think we even had close to 40 call-outs. Call-offs, unscheduled call-offs, and that costs the organization a lot of money. It harms your peers because they're having to cover more duties, or we're having to pay overtime, and so those call-offs, they did drop drastically to the point where there's been several days where we had zero call-offs. Mm-hmm. So there certainly is middle ground. Again, if people are sick, we want you to call in sick if you're not able to work, but if you're not sick, please come to work and just be responsible and make good decisions, and the policy really won't impact you at all if you're doing those things.
We were asked that a couple times as we went around, and you were pretty direct with your answer when it comes to the type of person that you want working for UDC when it applies to this policy. I think it'd be a good idea for you to really make that clear in this podcast.
Yeah, 100%. I've been in law enforcement for 23 years. I never called in sick if I was not sick, and there were many days that I can remember actually being physically ill while at work because I didn't want to let my peers down, because I felt like I was a professional law enforcement police officer. And that's what we want here at the Utah Department of Corrections, is a department full of leaders, a department full of professionals. We want to be the best correctional agency in the country, and I expect people to act like that. If you want to be a person that abuses sick leave or just needs to call in sick and not show up to work, then this probably isn't the organization for you, and I think there are probably places where you can go. At the end of the day, we want to keep all of you as our employees. We just want you to be a part of a professional organization.
What are a couple of things you would like to see accomplished in the next 6 months in the department?
Really, if I had to boil it down to two priorities, the first thing is stabilization. As I've seen the Department of Corrections for over 20 years from the outside, it never, to me, has appeared to be a stable organization. And even in our first almost 2 years, there's been a lot of changes that I think are necessary, but changes nonetheless. And so we really are focused on stabilization, meaning people are in the right places for a significant period of time. They become excellent at their job. We're providing great leadership, great tools, great training, and great compensation, and making sure that people have a good work-life balance and they're successful for a career and they can reach retirement. The second big thing that I'd really like to see us accomplish, and it really goes along with that, is becoming excellent at the things that we're supposed to be excellent at. You hear us use the term core competencies or career competencies. And really what I mean by that is there are things within your job that you do 95% of the time, and we want to help you to be excellent at those things. And if you can do that, then you're really going to help this organization move the needle, and at the end of the day, help people to transform their lives and reenter our communities in a successful way.
A lot of good things happening in the department and a lot more to come. So really excited to talk more about that. Next, we're going to bring in the rest of the executive team and have them introduce themselves and talk a little bit about what they are doing in their individual areas as well. We kick off the executive team with Becky Brown. Becky, good to have you with us. Talk a little bit about yourself first and your team and some of the things that you want to accomplish.
So I had the opportunity to join the department in about 21 months ago and oversee our administrative operations and quality teams, which include fleet, finance, facilities, budget, administrative operations, and then our reentry and rehabilitation teams, and oversee a lot of the critical operations around an individual's journey through the criminal justice system, from intake to reentry, and our community correctional centers. We have 6 of those, as you know, and we're working on redesigning through environmental scan how we use those, the demographics of individuals we serve, and then oversee all of our education, vocational training, and our Utah Correctional Industries team, where we have about 400 employees working throughout the prisons, and our audit team reports to me as a dotted line for day-to-day operations, really all focused on improving quality of the department and quality of our outcomes.
Mm-hmm. Jared, take a minute and just talk about the importance of the work that Becky and her team are doing.
Well, it's very important, and that's why we made some of the changes I hope Becky has a chance to talk about. Really, 96+% of the people that are in our care, in our custody, are going to return to our communities and be our neighbors. And so it's critical that we manage their progress successfully. And that includes creating positive and safe environments for them to transform their lives, creating opportunity for them to be sober and overcome addiction challenges, and then ensure that we connect them to the resources that they need as they get closer to the gate now in the community. Mm-hmm. We all have basic needs in our lives, whether that's transportation, housing, food, employment, and really we have to be excellent at those things to ensure people are successful.
Go a little more into depth on that, some of the exciting things that are happening to get to that point.
You know, one of the key pieces that we've really changed over the last couple of years has been a focus on someone's journey from the day that they become a part of our system, whether that's with probation or as they enter the prisons, doing quality intakes and understanding somebody's limitations around accessing community resources, their functional abilities, and really limitations that they've had long term, which maybe include an inability to retain housing successfully, and understanding that from the beginning and starting that work early. I think also helping drive people into evidence-based quality treatment programs that give them those services before the last day that they're with us, but being able to work backwards and understand the timelines more appropriately, and then really effective transitions into the community, including with both their healthcare needs, rehabilitative needs, and then needs related to psychosocial risk factors that include housing, education, vocational training, and making sure that that's in place and that we understand how to get them there, and if we need to have extra wraparound and supports for them as they're reentering, whether that's through our community correctional centers and continued treatment or aftercare services, and then throughout their time with our adult probation and parole teams to make that more successful. Clearly, one of the things that we have some constraints around has been the fact that we continue to see people coming back at a rate of about 66% on parole violations. Those are mostly technical violations, not new charges. And that means that we're missing something as we're helping them reenter, maybe medication stabilization, substance abuse treatment, enhanced substance abuse treatment, and the ability to intervene with them at those critical points.
Mm-hmm. So what does the next 6 months look like for you?
Well, for me and the teams that I have the opportunity to oversee, we will continue to stay focused on administrative quality and efficiencies within our department so that we are looking across the system to really maximize resource, understand capacity needs. I think one big thing that we'll be seeing come out is our 10-year master plan, which will really help us look forward over the next 10 years for the needs that we will have related to capacity, and then will help us really drive forward with good efficiency and management of our critical operations, and then really focused on our reentry process because that directly impacts capacity. And helping someone get out at their earliest possible date successfully certainly will drive down our ability to need to build new prison beds and really address capacity while addressing public safety.
Jared, imagine the impact of that moving forward and into the future.
Yeah, I mean, we know our population is going to continue to grow, and crime really never stops. There's always going to be some public safety risks in our community. We already know that this population has committed crimes, and if we can help them to transform their lives to the point that they don't do that, again, we will create safer communities and prevent further victimization from this population, at least.
All right, Becky, thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We have Spencer Turley joining us now. Good to have you with us, Spencer. First off, just take a second to introduce yourself and give us an overview of you and your team and your focal points.
You bet. Thanks for having me today. So my name is Spencer Turley. I've worked for the department coming up on 22 years, and I'm currently one of the deputy executive directors, and I oversee the Division of Prison Operations, the Safety, Risk, and Standards Division, and the Professional Standards Bureau.
Talk a little bit about what each of those do on kind of a high level.
You bet. So Division of Prison Operations has three main components. The first is the Utah State Correctional Facility here in Salt Lake, houses just over 3,800 inmates, and DPO has roughly over 900 staff there when they're completely full. The Central Utah Correctional Facility in Gunnison also is there, and they have about 1,800 inmates down there, and just shy of 400 staff members down there. And then DPO also has the inmate placement program where we house roughly 1,600 of our inmates, and they have 26 staff that work there. The Safety, Risk, and Standards Bureau is overseen by Brian Kenny. He's the chief there, and they have the safety office at both prisons and then in the community. And there's also the standards monitors that are enforcing the standards in all of our facilities and in the community correctional centers. Brian also serves as our liaison with risk management and does a great job. If I didn't mention it, Amy Griffiths is our chief in prison operations and also just does a remarkable job as well.
Go ahead.
And the final piece there is Tyler Johnson is our bureau chief for the Professional Standards Bureau, and they take care of all of our policy needs for the department as well as our internal affairs investigations and background investigations.
That's a wide scope. Jared, talk a little bit about what you're seeing out of this part of the team.
Well, I think there's a lot of really great things going on. The fact that we're finally able, again, to get fully staffed or close to that has been a game changer. I think for many years, the department's just been getting by and probably have skipped steps in the process, in any part of the process and every part of the process. So I think this really gives us a chance to reset what corrections should look like in Utah and get people, again, back to the core functions of their job, make sure they're doing their job to fidelity, and hopefully be able to support people a little bit better so we can get them out on vacation, get them to more frequent training opportunities, and really just provide greater opportunity for leadership, specifically at that first line supervisor level. When it comes to safety, risk, and standards, we want to be more proactive about finding those things that are a risk to public safety, a risk to our department and to our people, and keeping them safe. Also, those that are under our supervision. And so I think Brian Kenny's team's doing a really good job of identifying these things. Our staff's doing a great job of pointing things out that need to be improved upon. And hopefully we move quickly to create a safer environment for everybody. And then when it comes to professional standards, we talk about this a lot, but we truly do want a professional police, law enforcement, correctional agency, and that requires us to uphold the highest standards to make sure we're hiring the best people and understanding that people are going to make mistakes. And when they do, hopefully they are minor mistakes and we can make a correction. We can look at ourselves as a department and see areas that we need to improve, and we can continue to have a department full of professionals and leaders.
Spencer, looking ahead to the next 6 months, what does that look like for you and your team? And give us a few specifics of what you would like to see accomplished.
Sure. Each of these teams is just doing fantastic work right now. A couple of things we want to build on is, one, getting the sergeants off the schedule at the prison. We want to give the sergeants some more leeway to be the leaders that we need them to be and want them to be, and getting them off of the schedule so they can be with their teams more effectively. on the prison operations side, because more than 50% of our staff have less than 2 years in, there's going to be an increased focus on doing things not necessarily the easy way, but the right way, and making sure that we're following the proper procedures and policies that are in place, making adjustments where we need to. But we want to help all of our new officers just hit the ground running in a new career, and making sure that we have good coaching and mentoring in place, making sure that we have good training programs in place, and helping us to just succeed as an agency with so many new staff coming in. On the safety side, one of the big focuses is on drills. We want to have vulnerability drills. Today in the administration building, we did a fire drill. It was great. And we want to see more of those drills coming out. And it won't just be fire and earthquake drills, but it'll be things where there may be a vulnerability that we need to address in an APMP office, in a prison, community correctional center, but we'll have an increased focus on doing vulnerability drills. And then on the professional standards side, we are enhancing our background investigation process, particularly on the professional staff side. We've had a really good process going on the certified side, and we're going to kind of mirror those two processes a little bit and make sure that we're bringing the right people into the agency. And at the same time, we're going to enhance our policy approval process. We have many policies that are out of date, and it just takes way too long to get policies through. And so we're going to work on fixing that.
All right, Spencer, appreciate your time. Thank you.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Spencer.
Mike Schoenfeld is up next. Mike, take just a minute to introduce yourself, talk about your role, and then give us an overview of your team.
Okay. I'm Mike Schoenfeld, one of the deputy executive directors here at UDC. I've been in law enforcement for 29 years here at Department of Corrections, just over a year and a half. I really have most of our law enforcement functions at UDC under me, with the Law Enforcement Bureau, our adult probation and parole, and our training academy is what I oversee. And so a lot of those functions have our LEO sworn folks in them, and handle our criminal investigations or our community supervision or training our sworn and civilian professional staff.
Jared, take a minute to share your thoughts on the work of Mike and his team.
Yeah, Mike has a huge responsibility within the department. I think the place I'd start with first is our training division. When we first arrived, there were over 400 vacancies, all of us when we arrived, which was really unheard of and created a big challenge for the department. And since that time, we've hired over 400 people. And so we really had to double the size of the training division and place a priority on hiring all these new folks while continuing to improve the training of the people that have been here. And so I think you'll see a lot of new things coming out, whether it's a Google Classroom so we can deliver training to people, the curriculum writer and videographers that are going to be, again, delivering training to people so they don't have to leave their post, or they can take the training when it's convenient for them, and really finding more opportunities to provide training that is impactful and pertinent to their job right now. APMP really has come a long ways. We've had to do some hard things related to structure, but we feel like they're doing a lot of great things. We really want to prioritize community supervision and what that looks like. We've already talked about rehabilitation and reentry and the importance of helping people to be successful. So that's an area that we want APMP to prioritize. We've done some hard things with fugitive apprehension. We still want our APMP folks to utilize their law enforcement duties when necessary and effect arrests when necessary. But also we want, when we have to take a fugitive into custody, specifically ones that are very violent and dangerous, we want to be able to do that in a safe and effective way, not only for officers, but also for the public. So these are some really great things that are going on. And then our Law Enforcement Bureau is doing excellent things when it comes to interdiction and tactical resources. And we just want to continue to see that grow so we can keep our facilities safe.
Mike, as we went around the state for the listening tour, one thing we heard come up quite a bit was the new fugitive team. Talk about the why behind that.
Really, we're trying to take that frustration away from our APNP agents. We're looking for that true fugitive, the guy that we just don't know where he is. There's no stable address. There's no stable employment. We really can't get a hold of this guy. We just don't know where he went. Sometimes they've fled the state. Even fled the county. You know, they might still be in Utah, but we're trying to take that piece out because we have you know, sometimes we're spending too much time on the smallest percentage of our caseload looking for that guy and not focusing on the people who really need our attention or really want our help. So we're trying to take that frustration away from our agents, put that over into the Law Enforcement Bureau. We have a lot more tools over there with the U.S. Marshals and VFAST and some of our task forces that also go after fugitives to really track down these folks, figure out where they are, if they're in Utah, figure out where they are, if they're out of state, use our federal partners like the marshals to grab them if they're
Mhm.
out of state and bring them back into compliance with the Utah Department of Corrections. So really we're focused on that true fugitive. Those that resist our supervision, we still expect our AP&P agents to bring them into compliance.
Sure.
Sometimes an arrest is necessary with that. Other times it may just be that we need to hook them up with services or something that's missing that has drawn them out of compliance. So that fugitive piece, bringing that over to the LEB, we're really hoping that reduces that frustration
Yeah.
sometimes for our agents.
I really like the point you bring up. By doing that, we free up time for those that we can really be the most effective with
Right.
in helping transform their lives. Real quick, besides the fugitive team, talk about the next 6 months and what you would like to see accomplished.
In the next 6 months, we are in the middle of building this crime command center. We're calling it the IRIS for intelligence, reentry, intervention, and safety. That's going to be an intelligence-driven center. Really think about it as a place to, if you see something or you hear something and you just don't know what to do with it, that's the place you take it. We'll have analysts down there to take a look at that information, get that out to the right investigators, or get that out to DPO staff or out to AP&P, right, as we're hearing things. So that's a big drive for us in the next year. We'll also be developing some intelligence-led police training, teaching our folks how to gather that information, what to do with it then, how to vet it, how to turn it into intel, and how to make it actionable. So that center is really going to drive a lot of our efforts across the organization into taking our information, turning it into intelligence, assigning that out, and really figuring out how we deal with the many issues that we have across the organization.
Yeah.
How do we get DPO and AP&P communicating about the person that's coming out or coming back in, right? How do we get LEB interdicting narcotics and also stopping the violence that's occurring inside the prison? So that's a big drive for us, is that intelligence-led police model over the next year.
And being able to communicate and coordinate like that just makes a ton of sense. A lot of exciting things happening. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you.
Maria Shirey joining us now. Maria, it's good to see you. Thanks for being with us. Take a little bit of time to first introduce yourself and then give us the scope of your team and some of the things you're working on.
Okay, absolutely. Well, I've worked for Utah Department of Corrections for about 9 years. I spent 9 years before that working for the Washington State Department of Corrections. Never really thought I would stay here. I did a little bit of your old world, some TV news before working for the government, and just fell in love with the work, the people, and really feel like we have an important mission to accomplish. So
I can relate to that.
I stayed, and then I stayed some more. So happy to be here.
Tell us a little bit about your team and the makeup of that.
Okay, well, my team fits primarily into 3 buckets. The first is recruitment, retention, and employee experience. So that's a lot of our peer support, wellness programs, our retention efforts around recognition. In the other area, we have project management and customer experience. That's a relatively new feature for the department to have. We have a project management team now that's looking at all the various things that people have probably heard about today that are going on, and making sure that we are a department that gets things across the finish line and that we're accountable to complete the things that we've started, which are very innovative. The third area that kind of all fits with everything else is our stakeholder experience. So stakeholders are really anybody who has some interest in what's going on in the department. That is our advocacy group. So UPAN, UPAG, our family members, loved ones of the incarcerated. We also have some of our incarcerated individual advisory council work happens under stakeholder experience. We have grievances and ADA, which are more the compliance side of a stakeholder experience. And then our customers who are coming to our public website, we work with DTS and the governor's office to make sure we're meeting their needs.
Jared, your thoughts on the role of Maria and her team?
Well, she plays a critical role, her and her team. And when we talk about recruiting and retention and how far we've had to come, they've done an outstanding job with that. But there's still work to be done, because all of our employees, they're our most precious resource in the Utah Department of Corrections. And we don't want this to just be a job. We want it to be a career that they see through all the way to retirement. So we want to make sure we're engaging with them, we're listening to them, We're starting from a place of yes first, and then explaining why we have to make tough decisions sometimes. When we talk about our stakeholder engagement, we have to remember that the people in our care and our custody they're human beings, and they have families that care about them, and those family members are not always able to communicate with them like we can communicate with our friends and families. And so when they have concerns, we need to be extremely responsive to those concerns and make sure that they feel heard, and we have to provide excellent customer service to them. That's incredibly important. And then the last piece is, I think we can all relate to the fact we've all been on a committee at some point in our career, and it becomes extremely frustrating when you put in a lot of time and effort and energy and thought into something, and then nothing comes of it.
Yeah.
And to Maria's point, we do want to see things to the finish line. So we are tracking every project, every committee that we're on, and we're expecting results out of those committees to make sure that we are moving the department forward, that we're helping people to transform their lives, and at the end of the day, we're taking care of our employees so they stay here.
I want to narrow in on the recruiting and retention because your team has done phenomenal
Yes,
over
they've
the
been
last couple
amazing.
of years. We are at a point where we have a very healthy rate when it comes to retaining our employees. Could you just give us a little insight on that and what you think is driving that?
On the retention piece, I
Mhm.
think we've done a good job of changing culture. Certainly, hiring more people makes the job hopefully a little bit easier for those who've been carrying a really heavy burden from having to do mandatory overtime to where we are today. So I think just having more people around gives us an opportunity to build culture even more. We have what I think is a once in a generation opportunity to make this department amazing because so many of our staff are new. We can set the tone and really bring people in, teaching them how to do things the UDC way, and just continue to build on the culture that we've worked to improve.
Let's project forward the next 6 months. Where do you see you and your team making the most impact, and what do you want to accomplish?
So we have many pathways where our stakeholders can, to be transparent, complain. Right now they're tracked separately. So we have our constituent services area, we have our incarcerated individuals advisory council, we have our more formal grievance process, and we find that they're very much the same issues. The concerns that are coming in from our family groups are also the concerns that are coming in through grievances. So we're working on a way to centralize the tracking of those and hopefully get ahead of them so that when we start to see, okay, there's a unit here that's complaining about the same thing, we can pass that on to the leadership and hopefully they can go have a conversation so it never has to rise to the level of filing a grievance on an issue.
Great work coming from you and your team. Thank you for all you do and your time today. We appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Okay, so we have come to the point where I'm up next, and I obviously can't interview myself, so let's turn the tables here a little bit.
Yeah, that's a little awkward, but we'd now like to welcome Glen Mills to the podcast. Glen, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your team?
Sure. So I joined the department almost 2 years ago. I came from a television news background. Here in corrections, it's honestly, I never thought I would be here, but making this move really changed my lives in a way that is hard to even come up with words. I just love the work, the mission-driven work that we do. It's really amazing. So I oversee communications, government relations, and then we also have the GRAMA team under the umbrella here. So we really work hard to, one, aggressively tell the story of corrections, as opposed to allowing someone else do that. That's really important. At the legislature, it's all about building relationships and making sure we're being a good partner with the legislature. And I feel really good about the partnership and relationship that we have with them and the things that have happened the last couple of years. And then from the GRAMA side, obviously, that's really boils down to what we've been all about, and that is transparency. Right from the very beginning, we knew we needed to be transparent and build trust in the community around us.
Yeah. Your team really does play such a critical role in what we do. I think throughout my entire career, watching corrections from the outside and even being involved in law enforcement, I found that early in my career, we didn't want to tell our story. We kind of kept everything close to the vest and we're very secretive. But you've done a great job of really representing corrections as a whole in the Utah Department of Corrections. Can you talk a little bit about what that was like early on, your perception of the department,
Sure.
and what you thought you needed to do to kind of change that perception or enhance that?
Yeah, so a lot of times you might get caught up in this idea that, well, if I just don't say anything, everything will be okay. But having come from the other side of that, I know one thing. if you say no comment, you might as well say guilty as charged, because what's going to happen is someone is going to then just start digging into that. So that's really what I wanted to try to turn around here. Just being open. You can't always say everything, but you can always say something. So that was really important step. And really even beyond that, and more importantly, is the people on Team UDC have amazing stories that are happening every single day. And the public is very interested in that. So that was really what we wanted to start doing too. And Jesse Valdez is on my team, and he does a phenomenal job going around with the camera and really telling the stories of UDC, what's happening. And it's something that people really love to see, because it's not something they can see every day. You can't just show up at the prison and get in to see what's happening. So we're trying to give the public a glimpse of what is happening, because really we answer to the public. It's the taxpayers who are funding our work.
Yeah. I think my former colleagues in my law enforcement agencies would be really mad at me for saying this, but corrections is far more complex than outside law enforcement.
Mhm.
And your team really has done a phenomenal job of representing this department and the challenges that our team faces. Over the next, I know you're leaving us, unfortunately, and thank you for your service to the Utah
Appreciate
Department of
that.
Corrections and the state. We're definitely going to miss you, but I know we'll work together. What would you like to see accomplished over the next 6 months as your predecessor steps in, or excuse me, your replacement?
Mhm.
Glenn can never be replaced, but as someone steps
Not
in,
true.
someone steps in. What would you like to see happen over the next 6 months here at the Utah Department of Corrections?
Before I get to that, I do just want to say what an honor it's been to work side by side with the individuals of this department. Again, the experience has been just amazing. I would have never even imagined the impact that it had on me. Over the next 6 months, I would like to really see us continue to build on what we have. I hear from members of the media regularly that they appreciate the approach that we have taken. And I know you see that, and that you've seen the benefit of that, and that's where you want to take this as well. So I just really look forward to, from the flip side, one, continuing to work with you, because I think we still will, but just seeing where it goes and being able to continue to tell the correction story in a way that we are telling it. Because I said from the very beginning, you can either tell your story or someone else is going to tell it for you.
Well, you've done a great job of telling our story. And again, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
We round things off now with Ryan Day. Ryan, great to have you with us. Thanks for being here. First off, just take a little time to introduce yourself. Tell us about your role in the department and an overview of your team.
Fantastic. So my name is Ryan Day. I've been here with the department for about a year now and having a phenomenal time. This is a great place to be. Love the people I work with. I love the projects that we're working on. My background is in private enterprise, building software, building companies, and selling services in that realm. My team here consists of individuals that historically have belonged to research and planning, and then also DTS, and maybe a few other people that we've kind of added in. We've built in a business intelligence team. We've built in some team lead concepts. So we've kind of grown what we have, and we're just super excited about the direction that we are going and what we have on our plate. And
Jared, technology presents such an opportunity for the work we do here in corrections. Talk about that.
Yeah, it's so critical. We have an obligation to replace or transform our records management system, OTRAC, and Ryan's team's working very, very hard on that. The reason that that's so important is because that is our main source of data and how we track people's progress through the system. And if that data is incorrect or inaccurate, then we're not going to truly know how we are progressing as an agency and how we're helping people to transform their lives. So it's a heavy lift that Ryan and his team has on them, but they're working very, very hard so we can have great data. We can track our resources and at the end of the day have great outcomes for people.
Ryan, as we went around the state on our statewide listening tour, you were one of the more popular ones when it came to questions, and it centered around OTRAC. So what's your message to the department when it comes to that?
So a couple of things. One, specifically around OTRAC, I think I got beat up quite a bit from our APMP agents as far as how OTRAC was working for them. And so this quarter, we have redirected a bulk of our resources, meaning our developers, our project managers, the tasks that we're able to do, to focusing on the items that we heard from APMP, because I think APMP, as one of our major divisions, has just been neglected for so long when it comes to technology, specifically with OTRAC, that they have a right to be a little bit upset about how it's functioning for them right now. And so our tasks ahead of us are to do two things this quarter. Number one is to stabilize the system, to go in and actually fix some underlying issues in regards to OTRAC so that it will not go down as often as it historically has. And then number two is to focus on some of those specific issues that we've heard from APMP and hopefully make those agents' lives a little bit better.
In addition to OTRAC, as you look ahead to the next 6 months, what are some of the things that you want to see you and your team accomplish?
Great question. We kind of have three major focuses. OTRAC is our number one focus, our number one priority, and whether we're fixing it, looking at other systems, thinking about how we can implement new UI, UX concepts into the system, how we can fix the underlying code, how we can fix the database. That's the biggest one that we have. The other big scenario that we've been tackling, the technology, is our intranet, and we're hoping to have that a soft launch going live around the 1st of August, with launching to the entire department in September sometime. So we are aggressively pursuing that project, and pretty excited about the direction and what we're about to do with the intranet. And I think that it's going to change the way that corrections communicates. I think it's going to change the way corrections gets content and learns and grows. And it's going to hopefully be a game changer for all of us once we have that system up and running. So
yeah, we're excited about that. We see that as basically a landing page that everyone in Team UDC can start their day with. So that'll be awesome.
And
Jared,
then just one other big thing that we're working on is our business intelligence. And we've got some great progress being made right now, and we're excited to showcase a couple of very interactive dashboards that will allow individuals to come and drill in and see the data, find the data that they want, wonder about, hey, how many of this are there? And they can really start analyzing and getting feedback real time. So we're excited to showcase that here shortly as well.
All right, Jared, technology could really make a lot of our jobs easier without getting into too much detail, just on a broad spectrum. How do you see the use of AI and other technology uses to make our work better?
Yeah, I think technology can be a bad thing sometimes, but it also can be a tremendous thing. And when you work in government, it's tough to get resources, especially in tough budget years. So we have to find ways to be more efficient and effective. And so I really see the future of our department in the AI realm and using it frequently to create efficiencies, whether that's with assessments, creating reports in a lot quicker way, in a more comprehensive and complete and thorough way. And so I just think we'll see technology grow in our department and help us to be more efficient and effective without taking people's jobs, just giving them more time to be better at their jobs.
All right. Ryan, appreciate the work you do, and we all know it's critical to our department. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Ryan. Okay, Jared, let's wrap this up. The point of this podcast was to give a recap of the statewide listening tour, because we understand not everyone can make that, but this is an easy way to really where anyone in the department can access it. Your final message to the department in not only where we are today, but where we're moving forward.
Yeah, I just want to say how exciting it is to work for this department. We have a tremendous opportunity to impact the criminal justice system and public safety in a very positive way. All of our employees they serve as the backstop to the criminal justice system, and we want them to understand how important they are, and it's important that they take their job seriously. It's a very challenging job, and sometimes can be a thankless job, but all of our employees go about their day-to-day business in a very professional way, and in a way that I'm glad that you are highlighting. So just want to thank everybody for what they do. I want to make sure they're looking out for each other, their mental health, their physical health. They're trying to strike the right work-life balance, taking care of their families, and at the end of the day, going home safe and getting to their retirement.
And that is what it's all about. If you are watching this, we hope that you've found it insightful. We will be doing this on a more regular basis, likely a monthly basis moving on out. This has been Conversations with Corrections.
These podcasts are on our website at corrections.utah.gov or on the UDC YouTube page. Suggestions for a future topic can be sent to corrections@utah.gov. Thank you for joining us.